if your product is using AI just for the sake of using AI and it's hard to explain without the AI part, like just don't do it. I'll be as blunt as that. If it's
Sure. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I think it's now the fourth episode of the podcast, which I call for now Visionary Vibes. Basically, what we're trying to do, I know it's a fancy, one, but I'm trying to talk to people from the AI space because, like I was just telling you earlier before I clicked on the record button, I think when it comes to AI, there's a lot of people, sharing their opinion, ideas every single day. So what I'm trying to do here is to get to talk to people like Yoann, who's currently the Chief Growth Officer at AIApply, a really cool startup that I'm sure you'll share more info about. And then previously, you were Chief Marketing Officer at Tembo, right? I actually nearly became one of your clients, and then I then just basically went on with a traditional broker. But anyway, previously, well, according to your LinkedIn at least, obviously, when you've been doing stuff at Depop,
Mm.
Deliveroo, so a lot of stuff. So the reason why I even reached out, just kind of like for context, obviously, I think I would really love to hear, obviously, a lot of ideas and just opinion on where, like, what's going on with AI, what's going on with marketing AI products, because obviously I think there's a couple of things to really discuss here, right? Like one is everyone is building a lot of kind of similar stuff now. How do we market it? How we grow these things? Other, tons of things that we're going to discuss, but I think, I'll give you a chance just to kind of like introduce yourself. So
Yeah,
yeah, let's go going.
I can do that. Thanks for having me, Vlad. Nice to meet you. It's great to join someone else's podcast and channel. Yeah, I'm Johan. Yeah, like you said, I work at AIApply. I've done a few things in marketing and growth over the years. And yeah, I feel like there's like some probably the most exciting time that we've ever been in, a lot of spaces, but anything that touches AI is kind of being rewritten at the moment. So yeah, it feels good to like just talk about it and just bounce ideas, etc. Because yeah, there's a lot of chatter, there's a lot of hype as well.
Yeah, every single
Different
day.
every single
It's
day.
always
Like
hype.
I fell into the I fell into the kind of lovable chatter on X the last few days where like people are like, do you know anyone who uses lovable or pays for it? And it's like no one knows anyone that like pays
Yeah.
for it. And because they just
I,
announced they got to like 100 million ARR and stuff, and
yes.
it's like there's a lot of numbers being thrown out, a lot of hype. There's a lot of hype. There's a lot of VC, obviously, not dormant VC money that's been, the market's been really hard for a few years. So now it feels like an opportunity to create a lot of noise, to get a lot of investment back into the ecosystem. And,
Are you
you know,
vibe coding now?
I try to do some vibe marketing, if you will. But yeah, I think that all of that is interesting. Whether those news are true or not, we'll find out in the
Yeah.
next 12
There's a lot
months.
of
But
noise, but again, this is why at the end of the day, it really comes down to just experience and actually
yeah,
doing things. Because again, I understand everyone can have an opinion on anything, but I find most value when I actually learn from someone who actually does something. And
yeah,
again,
yeah,
like I said at
yeah,
the beginning,
yeah,
the point for this kind of like point of this podcast is really talk to people either who are building stuff, so the
yeah,
engineering side, or people like you, and that's why I want to learn actually more from people like you because day
yeah,
to day, I'm building a lot of stuff at Green Republic. So I'm actually more on the product side.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
manage teams and engineers who build stuff kind of like your startup, right? So
Mm,
I'm more kind of like trying to understand, right,
for
we've got
sure.
the product there. How do we grow? So I don't
Yeah,
know, just would be really good to hear, cool. You tell a bit about AI Apply and then
yeah,
maybe, about what you do more specifically, because I think it'd be really good. Like imagine sort of someone who's trying to either build their, AI startup,
mm,
whatever it is, and then their thinking is, how do I go from zero to one? And then secondly, how do I start scaling? So
yeah.
I think this would be just yeah, I'll basically shut up here and let you talk.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll talk a bit more about that. So yeah, you mentioned AIApply. It's a platform for job seekers. So let's just like put the context. We help people find a job faster with like a set of tools that use AI to personalize, tailor your job application, help you prep for an interview, mock interview, live interview answers to train or to use, whether however you want to use it. But like like contextual answer on your screen when you're doing like
Yeah, yeah.
like video calls.
No, I saw that on
Yeah,
TikTok, just to be clear. So that's when
yeah,
I actually found out about
yeah,
AI Apply. And actually,
yeah,
let me literally, as you kind of mentioned it, because I do think, let me just share my screen because I think that would be even cool. Is that the video you're talking about?
yeah, 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 yeah. That video has got I think it's like 10 million views now, 10, 11 million views. Yeah, yeah. It's basically using the app with like an interesting hook at the beginning. But yeah, like just to go back to like the beginning, what you asked. I think there's a lot of opportunity in AI and in our space, like in the niche of like job seekers. There's a lot you can do with just to get started. I mean, to um, to bring like a new way of doing something that will kind of like wow people in a way that
Hmm.
they've never been before. So like in our case, you get from I don't know what I'm gonna do to apply to this job. It might take me hours, or you might procrastinate for a few days. To we'll get you a job application kit for like in like 30 seconds, and that
Right.
is like the magic moment for people. If you take those like more like builder vibe coding kind of tool, is like you can go from zero to building a website in like 20 seconds as well. You just like type it and it
Hmm.
just appears. It's kind of the same it's always kind of the same concept. It's like how can you find a product um, flow that uses AI in a way that would transform something that people are used to do that would take like a very long time in a very short amount of time. And that's kind of how you drive the first kind of hype or like awareness to your product. I think the new way of doing that um, for like AI startups is to start from, yeah, you can actually engineer the kind of virality of a product before even building it. Like
So, s-
you can try
so,
things on TikTok, basically clips that will give you the signals that something is going to be interesting for people, and then build it.
so this is a really really good one. Okay, look, let me just ask you a couple of questions here. So obviously, like I shared the screen earlier. So I think your video got what, like 10 million views or something,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Um, And so what you just said is like you can basically test an idea before launching it, right?
yeah.
But do you think any idea could basically help, sort of reverse engineer product,
Hmm.
or is it more kind of like marketing for the sake of marketing here?
No, no. I think it's applicable for a lot of things. It doesn't. It's not necessarily marketing for the sake of marketing. Like you're trying. It's like a giant, worldwide survey in real time.
Mm.
That will give you the signals that something is interesting to people or not. And it's not. I'm not talking about like I've seen it on the screen for the ones who are gonna watch the video. Um, it's not like a dance video. It's not like a POV text overlay, just a face talking. Like like it
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
shows the product. So I think there are
And the
some of
product, I
these.
assume in the right context. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, 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 yeah. You
yeah.
are at the desk. So in our case, it's like there's always a notion of like a desk, a computer, the phone or the computer is doing something, like and it's not a secret. There's like a ton of companies like using that format or a version of that format. There's sometimes a notion of like I caught someone doing something, like over the
Yeah, yeah,
shoulder
so
type
many of those,
thing.
yeah.
There's always like a variation of that. Or it's like more simply like it'll be like a reaction, like someone face reaction and then move into like a few seconds of app demo if it's an app, for example.
Mm.
Like that works too. But I think you can do a lot with like a mock-up of an app that doesn't exist,
Mm.
a phone, a computer, and just try formats that will give you some reassurance that what you're gonna build is gonna convert into some revenue.
So the question is then, like, with all the vibe coding and vibe marketing going on,
Yeah,
what does come first? Like,
yeah.
is it the marketing, sort of
Oh
side,
yeah.
or is it the development, or
Mm,
how do you go about it? Because I'm pretty sure
yeah,
what I'm trying to say is, again, to keep it practical, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who literally vibe coded some app yesterday and now have like zero understanding how to work on the distribution,
yeah, yeah,
getting that audience, and then a couple of your mates play with your app, they say, "Hey, it's amazing, I love it," and then your app
mm,
dies.
yeah.
So what you're trying to say is like you would focus, and correct me if I'm wrong, the way you see it is like you focus pretty much on organic social and trying to reverse engineer
Yeah,
the solution instead of just going and trying to build something.
yeah, exactly that. I think you can go from idea to distribution very fast, thanks to AI and like all the tools available right now. So I would prioritize that. Would be like my tech would be to prioritize that first, instead of focusing on the product or an idea that someone's got to be interested in something, and then trying to make it fit into a social context. Because especially at the beginning, if you can't figure out the distribution,
Mm,
you won't scale. You're dead on arrival. If you don't if you don't raise money and you're trying to bootstrap your business, I guess that'd be very very hard if you can't reverse engineer like some level of product virality
yeah.
before. So yeah, I would definitely prioritize that first. And it's it, it's weird because it's also never been easier to do that. Um, because
Are you
if
talking
you
about the marketing side now,
yeah,
or which side?
the distribution side of
Yeah.
it, it's never been easier to try that relentlessly. Like you can post on a TikTok account on one account up to like 3 times a day without really penalizing reach and an account. You can open 10 accounts on one phone and try 3 times a day on 10 accounts if you
Mm,
really want to go hardcore. Like there's no limit to this.
mm,
And then the beauty of that is once you find that format, that product, channel fit, or however you want to call it, the distribution side of it, once you figure that out, then there's also like no limit to how much you can scale this. Like you can find thousands of people that will do that also for you. Then that will require some investment. So you will have to make some revenue and
yeah.
reinvest, etc.,
But
and so on
that's
and
the
so forth.
scale side of the
That's the
business.
scale
That's
side of it.
scaling.
But the same thing you do to kickstart it is the thing you're gonna do to then scale it.
Yeah.
And that's only for the organic side of things. And that is very interesting because that is very new. It's becoming less of a novelty because more and more apps and more, 19 years
Yeah.
old coding apps are doing it and they're talking
Yeah.
very openly about it. So there's also like in this new generation of founders, like young founders, etc. There's a lot of also bragging going on. So it's really hard also to like know if they're talking about it because it doesn't work for them, but they want to like trick everyone to do that thing. Like there's
Yeah.
also like it's like you
Yeah.
said, it's like who is it actually working for people who are not doing it? It's like how can you know if a tactic works or not? So there's also a bit of that. But a few years ago, when TikTok was just kind of like ramping up in popularity, and there was and then the time before that when there was no TikTok, like algorithms in social platforms were different. So that whole thing that I just mentioned
Mm.
was not possible. It was just not possible. It was not how algorithms on
Yeah.
Instagram, Facebooks, and were were working. It was
Yeah.
based on who you follow, not based on your interests. So like
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of all of these
interest.
things are also new because of the change in the way like TikTok changed all the other algorithms on Meta
Yeah.
side. Yeah.
No, I completely agree here, and I would say even look, I think what's interesting is previously, I do think obviously like this is very nuanced, right? And like always, the devil is in the detail, right? But it's interesting how I think marketing now could be a way kind of like bigger competitive advantage or moat than the product, because
Yes.
these days when everyone can vibe code and like create some app today
Yeah.
actually marketing becomes a bigger problem because I've heard it very, very
Right.
often, LinkedIn VCs saying, yeah, but what if these people now replicate your product? And actually, they're right.
Yeah.
If you think about it, if it's not like a complex, I don't know, CRM system, some complex app,
Look, 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 look.
I do actually think that the competitive advantage is on the growth marketing side
Yeah.
rather than actually on the product. So again, for
Yeah.
me, even though I come from the product side, I do think actually that more and more sort of the focus
Yeah.
is shifting on the product marketing or the marketing side.
Yeah.
I find that very interesting.
Yeah. And I agree. I think you can kind of put brand into that as well because the distribution side of it will also build your brand. So the way you present
Mm,
yourself to the world and get, millions and millions of views through your content is also what's going to build your name over time because you're doing it every day and you're scaling it, etc. So I think that becomes what is becomes your moat. Um, because it's harder as of today it's harder to replicate. I agree, like a feature in a product someone can copy it tomorrow. um, a format on TikTok someone can copy it tomorrow too, but they're not guaranteed the distribution if they're just
mm.
starting. And what's really hard to replicate, what takes a bit of time, is the process behind scaling that and that process. So I think the war right now, the game that everyone is playing in each of their industry. So in our case, when the job seeker
Yeah,
kind of job search industry is how can we flood the market with videos everywhere, as many as possible, with as many views as possible, so people just see us constantly, and we become the de facto AI tool for looking for a job.
but again, so to sum it up, would you say, would you agree that it simply happens to be a unique, opportunity where on the product side, you're disrupting the market because you have an AI first, AI alternative to the
Yeah,
traditional process. And obviously that, gets more attention because people go, right, I can apply
yeah,
in 30 seconds, cool. But also on the marketing side, it's a unique opportunity simply because of that free, well, relatively free distribution and
yeah,
being able to go viral, which
yeah,
then means you can compete with some of the giants. Is that
yeah.
kind of like the thinking here? And also my question here is, do you think again, we're not talking about if you're like VC funded millions and trillions of pounds
Yeah.
behind you, but more of like, simple guys. Is that the only way to go now about AI products and growth? Or
I
is there
think,
anything else? I don't know. Tell
yeah,
me.
no, I think so. I think it's the main way to go. Obviously, there's the paid component to that, but you have to have uh, unit economics that work where you're not losing money,
Oh,
which is possible depending on your how much you charge and your LTV and the payback that you get from your customer. You could make that work as well as the organic, but it's a lot harder, especially when you're starting and especially if you're bootstrapped. Um, Everything else takes longer, like
yeah.
SEO, like community building. When you're like small
So,
and you're just starting, it's really hard to
and
get
that's what
that
I'm
right.
trying to understand because I see a lot of products, and then to be very honest with you, so during the first 2 years we existed, man, we probably built, I'm not gonna lie, 70% of products that never scaled and they literally died simply because marketing didn't go well.
Mm.
And this is why I'm a lot now more selective when it comes to products because I don't want to build something so that it then dies immediately. So the
Yeah.
question for you is, so basically, you think there's no point in kind of like, we say spray and pray, right, when it comes to marketing,
Mm.
because you kind of see two categories of people. One goes, yep, mate, go all in on TikTok, social, reels and all that, shorts.
Yeah.
And then you have other people who are trying to be more systematic and they go, yeah, you need a newsletter, do this, do that. But
Mm.
then if you think about resources, you need more people, and then it's like that's cool.
Yeah.
It's probably like a nice, to-do list to have when it comes to newsletter, SEO, social.
Yeah.
But talking about like actually growing, am I
Yeah.
right to say that you think just focusing one or two things for organic growth,
Yeah.
that's it really?
Yeah, exactly. Because you need nothing to start. Like literally, a solo founder with a phone could do a daily video about what they're building. You can go the building public route as well, which is another way to get
Yeah.
some sort of hype on X and other channels. But yeah, this literally requires nothing, just time. And when you're trying to get a product off the ground, I know time is a constraint, but I think that's the best way to allocate your time is to get that distribution off the ground because you'll get some traction out of it. There is if the content is not too far away from what you actually do, it doesn't have to be salesy, but you can mention what you do or have some relation to what the product is about. It will have some repercussion into your revenue. And then what you're trying to do is to get a ratio of like, I don't know, 1 to 10, 1 to 20, 1 to 50
Mm.
video that get to 100,000, a million type of views. And you'll get into these like more spiky kind of new
Yeah.
ceiling into like where your revenue is going. But
I
that's how it
absolutely agree.
starts. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree, but it's also a bit unpredictable, no? Like when it comes to social growth, because I mean, let me just kind of like, I think it would be good if I'll just share my screen and we just kind of like talk through it. I think be valuable. So I'm just going to go now to your TikTok, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the most viewed one, right? 10 million views, 13,000 saves. Wow, it's amazing. Um, but then obviously you can't predict, right? So here you go, you got 365K views. That's amazing, right? But then sometimes obviously it flops and it goes just 1,000, 3,000. So you can definitely see how, you've got these, and it's actually insane, right? You've got like a 369,000, then 1,000, 2,000, and then again another hit. So talk me through kind of like how you see it. Do you just basically try to like I'm trying to understand, do you actually learn from the previous sort of TikToks that have gone viral,
Yeah.
or do you start from scratch because if it was successful yesterday, I believe it doesn't guarantee it's going to be successful tomorrow even if you replicate it.
Yeah.
So what's your thinking there?
Yeah, no, I think there's something that has potential to go viral can go viral again. So then it's just a frequency thing. How often can we
Hmm.
tweak and post a similar video that we know with that kind of format has gone viral before? And how often can we sustain that? Um, you When you looked at the videos, it's probably like 1 in 5, something like that, like
Yeah,
roughly. And
but
there's some
that's
better.
amazing the way I see it. Like,
Oh yeah, it's great. Like 1 in 5 is great. Like our main account is probably the one of the best one, but we like for me it's super simple. It's a pure CPM kind of play. Like
mhm.
I mean, how much are we paying per video? How many views do we get on a monthly basis? How much revenue do I think a million views is worth? And there's some
Hmm.
ways to do that, some proxies, like how much you're paying on ads, so your paid kind of
Yeah,
views to revenue. You've got like ways, it's not perfect, but there's some ways to like kind of estimate. You can also look at benchmark. There's like people talking openly on X, on YouTube about like how much do they pay, per video and their creators. How do they justify kind of like their bonus structure? But it's just
Yeah.
super simple math. Like it's just pure CPM. Like we, you know that on paid ads on Meta, if you're targeting the US, you're gonna pay super high CPMs. Like it's becoming, like that's the thing that's
Hmm.
continuously getting more and more expensive. If you look at the last, 15 years, that is not gonna go down. So now, can we compete on cheaper CPM with organic content, with pure volume and repetition of winning formats? And yeah, the answer, yeah, is yes. Like I think in our best month, it was in April, so like yeah, 3 months ago. We did a combined, I think it was 50 million views. The average CPM on 50 million views, 50, was 10p.
Yeah.
So
You'll never get that these days
you'll never get
anywhere.
down paid. So I'm not saying when you get to a
Mm.
certain level, I'm not saying to not do paid. I think it's good to have both because obviously the paid traffic is more tailored towards conversion. Algorithms are good at finding people who are gonna get like good
Yeah.
conversion, good LTV. You can't compare the organic to the paid exactly 101, but when one of them is 10p CPM,
Yeah.
you're
I
gonna
agree.
you're gonna scale that, because you can clearly see like correlation between like how much your business is growing versus that. So then it's just a pure volume game. Like how many videos can we put out on how many accounts? Right now we're working with 10 creators. They all have a TikTok and an Instagram account. They all post every day, plus our main accounts. So like one of the things that is completely different, like if I look back in my career, like that's why I think it's very exciting nowadays to work in growth, and like probably the most exciting that it's been in the 12 years that I've been in growth. And you mentioned at the beginning, like I was very early. I was like the first growth marketer, like head of recruited at Deliveroo in the early days. Same at Depop a few years ago in 2017. And like it's so different to today. Like I love it today because there's this like um fear, like everyone has a chance. Like within what we talked
Mm.
about, like everyone can try. Like every piece of video is its own campaign. And before it wasn't the case. Like before it was like very first of all, before it was very VC backed, especially in London in the tech scene. Like, so you got more money to spend. You kind of have to spend the
Yeah.
money. There's a notion of profitability, but it's like, yeah, can we get payback within the first 12 months? Can we get payback within the first 24 months? Like, which used to be the
Mm.
case like a few years ago. That's insane. Like now I need to be profitable in month one. Like at
Yeah.
Apply,
Yeah.
we're bootstrapped. So like it's a very different. That's also why I like it because I went from like a lot of like VC backed, heavy funded kind of startup scale ups to now this. But this is like everyone is on the same level,
Mm.
playing field. Like everyone can try with that kind of strategy to get something off the ground, and they do. Some of them, not everyone succeeds because not every product has the potential to do that. I agree. Like it's not guaranteed
Yeah. The
success.
product has to be good at the end of the day, of
Yeah, it has
course.
to solve a
Like
problem.
any
People need to,
product.
yeah, people need to want it. It's not just gimmicky. Otherwise, yeah, you might get some success, but it'll die straight away, or your churn is going to be insane. Um, so yeah,
But
but
do you
yeah,
see on the organic side this like ever ending then?
I
Like
think there's
obviously
a
it
no, no. I
should at
think yeah,
some
no. I
point,
think yeah, I
or
think there's a window.
where
Like
is this? Yeah.
everything else in growth, everything gets trashed eventually by people like me. Because there's too many of us doing that, figuring it out, scaling it too much, and then it's just the channel
Yeah.
gets completely saturated. Like it's already, I think this, I don't know if it's going to be the next 6 months, 12 months, maybe the next 2 years will be okay. Who knows? Like right now, there's a few like very vocal kind of apps. You've got like the Kalei, like you've got like the Cluelies
Yeah.
in San Francisco, like doing this kind of strategy at scale. Like they're basically doing what we're doing, but like instead of having 10, they've got like 50. accounts with 50 people. And the reason why we have 10 and not 50 is just because we're bootstrapped and they're like
Yeah.
A16Z funded. So like, they've got more
Hmm.
money to play with. But there's going to be more people figuring it out, listening to this, like trying it, getting some success. And eventually,
So maybe we shouldn't post this podcast and like just
maybe we shouldn't.
tell.
No, but I also think it would need so many companies to do this to saturate something like TikTok. Like I think
Mm.
the need for content versus the content that is like the demand for content right now is so disproportionate, um, that I think we're far away from that. But it will happen, like everything, like emails, in the early
Yeah.
days was,
But
like great, and now it's, not so great.
since we kind of like, already touched the overall direction and kind of like marketing growth. So again, you being previously and obviously tech companies as well, but I would say not as AI focused as you now, right?
Mm.
Is there much of a difference, as simple or stupid question as it might be,
Yeah.
any difference in the way you market or grow an AI one, or like more of a traditional, software product or marketplace or whatever it is?
Yeah, I think there's huge difference. Starting with like I think for me the biggest difference is the notion of brand and how it became completely like a byproduct of the rest of everything that we talked about. Like the brand is the distribution of the content that we put out, that the creators do. It's not guided by me, or very little guided by me. It's by the people who create it and the way they talk and the way they film it. Um, that obviously is very different to what I've experienced before.
But isn't that more of a brand nuance rather than AI itself?
And basically, I think it doesn't matter if it's AI or not. I think there are ways to start and grow a business today, whether it's AI or not AI, that are traditional and others non-traditional. And I think if you ask me, the best way to do it is everything that we talked about. It's not to think about your brand guidelines and tone of voice and things like that.
Mm.
And there are some AI companies that starts leaning a little bit more towards that. And I think that in today's strategies, it will slow you down from the beginning. And I talk to people sometimes, like in other space than AI, like not necessarily AI, but um, that if one of the first thing they kind of block on when I talk to them about um, things like growth, distribution on social, like
Hmm.
TikTok, etc. They're like, but the first thing is like we can't do this because that's not how we present ourselves, and like it's almost like a game over to me from like in the discussion from the beginning, because there's for me it's a non-negotiable. Like
Okay.
if you're already starting your business like with putting yourself restrictions on how you're going to present yourself to the world, it's going to be
But
very
don't you
tricky.
think don't you think that's because it just happened so that the whole AI thing
Mm.
happened kind of at the same time with all of the casual, social, organic sort of content TikTok wave sort of happening at the same time.
Yeah,
So
it's
those
kind of a
two.
combination. Yeah, it's a combination of those two things happening at the same time. Yeah, and I agree. I agree.
I, the,
Yeah,
because just to take a step back, the reason what I'm curious about is to take a step back again. So some AI products are a lot more straightforward. I would say like yours, right? Which, in 10 seconds, I can probably understand
yeah,
what and how it works. Some AI products, I can definitely see some companies having to, explain videos, I don't know, some posts
mm.
to explain where AI is, why AI is actually going to change something. I don't have an example right now, but this is why I'm kind of like asking about marketing and kind of like
yeah,
growth overall,
yeah, yeah,
because in some sense, in your case, I'm not saying it's easier, but I'm
yeah.
saying you are in a really good position. I'm really happy for you that
Mm.
you can kind of like use AI and explain quickly to users what this is.
Yeah.
Whereas I've seen a lot of founders and tech entrepreneurs building something with AI, but mate, even it takes me a minute to understand what they're building,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
let alone how you market it. So
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know, like any And if the answer is no, like any thoughts on like, AI marketing, like I mean products that have AI inside, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because to me it seems previously without AI, it was kind of easier to explain products. I mean, probably, I mean, I didn't really even live back then, but in the
Mm,
2000s, you'd probably explain, to people how you purchase things online. And
yeah,
you go to this website,
yeah,
you put it
yeah,
into the
yeah, yeah.
cart, and then you check out. So I
Yeah,
do feel sometimes we're going through a similar,
yeah.
um, so, any thoughts on growth and I don't know, articulating things or marketing things when they're not as clear to the end consumer?
Yeah, yeah, I see what you mean. Like if your product is using AI just for the sake of using AI and it's hard to explain without the AI part, like just don't do it. I'll be as blunt as that. If it's
It's good.
like I it's like you said, like the way we are able to market AIApply, like eventually I believe we can take off the AI part of it and it will still work
Exactly.
because it solves a problem that with or without AI, like is always going to be there. Like it's not, we didn't invent a problem that AI is trying to solve, and then that makes it murky and kind of hard to explain. So like, yeah, exactly to your point, like if it's building an AI startup to kind of invent a problem that you're going to solve with what often is like a
Mm.
chatbot, a wrapper on top of ChatGPT, then it's probably not going to work. Um, I think I think about this sometimes as well. Like I agree. I think we're in the phase of like discovery. There's a lot of people who try product, including ours, because there's this like novelty effect of like I've used a spreadsheet before and I've like manually you know updated my CV and made like typed my cover letter manually. Let me try something new. Like there's a lot of that, and in all the AI products. But I think that eventually is gonna become just like the de facto of any
Just the
product.
normal.
Yeah, like AI and like agents is gonna be built in every product that we use, and then it won't even be mentioned. So,
Yeah.
like maybe AIApply would change its name to like just apply.com, whatever,
And I do think you're actually right because it just happens so we're still going through a phase where it's kind of like we're playing and testing,
Mm,
right?
yeah,
But it's kind of like with electricity, you don't really use the word
yeah,
electric. Use it with cars, but that's because they're relatively new, right?
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
new
yeah,
product,
yeah,
but over time you just
yeah,
call it cars, right?
exactly.
But you don't just say, I don't know, electric laptop, electric phone, I don't know, whatever else, right?
Mm,
So I do think as the market matures,
yeah,
honestly, we're going to drop AI everywhere, and it's just going to be a normal thing, like you said.
yeah,
But then the question becomes, look, I definitely going back to AI apply, you're definitely crushing the whole marketing growth, sort of side,
mm,
but still growth is pretty like goes really is sort of incorporated into the product, obviously, right? And you have to make sure that people love the product first. So you kind of mentioned rappers here. What's the
yeah,
future? Because I'm pretty sure we're getting a lot of questions, people saying, can't I
yeah,
just do that in ChatGPT?
yeah,
Generate, a CV, a cover letter.
yeah.
So any thoughts on that? And the question is, specifically for you,
Mhm.
do you keep basically protecting the product by being amazing at marketing? And that's
Mm,
just how you keep getting more and more clients?
yeah.
Or does the product have to change as well over time? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's a mix of both. I think the product needs to add something on top of just writing something or generating an image or something that Claude or like any others would do. Also, like if you actually want the best out of like ChatGPT, you actually need to pay for it. So it's like whether you pay for one or pay for the other, there's like it becomes a less like obvious decision. And then there is the yeah, what are we gonna do on top? So like a CV needs a design, it's a template, like is ChatGPT gonna do that on top of like is it likely that they're gonna tackle that specific problem? Maybe. So what else can we do? Like and they're always kind of questioning like what is the extra like element we can add to something that could be available using other products.
So
Um,
just to understand your
yeah,
thinking here again, and correct me if I'm wrong. So you've tested the product with your amazing, marketing content. You get
yeah,
that, cool. Then you actually know that you have this obviously killer feature that where people generate CVs, cover letters.
yeah,
Amazing. You know people use it. Then obviously you have more and more people using and signing up for ChatGPT and just kind of like questioning whether AI apply is worth it.
yeah,
So then you go and say, right, let me think of sufficient or more features that will then justify
yeah.
the price for using AI apply on a monthly or one-off basis. Is that kind of like how you see product development here or product
Yeah, it's kind
growth
of
overall?
that's kind of it because it's like for someone to do the ChatGPT version, it would be like it's not a one shot. It's like prompting after prompting after like, do you want to spend time doing that, or do you want to pay $29
Yeah.
and get it in 20 seconds? Yeah, like that's the question that people will ask themselves, and oftentimes they'll be like, no, just like these guys are dedicated to that. That is the solution for that, instead of like the generic out of the box, do it all type of model. Um,
But would you agree that some product problems will actually like ChatGPT will just eat them up?
oh
I'll give
yeah,
you like a very, very
yeah,
simple example, like
yeah,
when I was thinking about. So very often I actually need to add a signature to any of the files,
yeah. Hmm.
but I don't want to pay anyone like 20, 30 pounds a month to literally add five signatures a month. So if there was something like ChatGPT or whatever that would literally just say, "Yep, lad, upload the PDF, and then I'll add your signature," I'll be like, perfect. So would you agree that there's some spaces or industries or whatever it is where kind of no matter how genius you are and like
Hmm.
how big the product can be, people will go, you know what, it just doesn't matter really, and I'm just going to stick to the most basic thing that
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
exists out there.
I agree. I agree. It needs to be a big enough problems, and that's what I liked about uh, what we're doing. Because finding a job is always gonna be like a super important problem for people. It can be tackled in different ways. It's niche enough that we can be super specific about the product that we put in place to solve it. Um, and that I think that works, at least for the time being, as like a defensible aspect for the business. That's kind of how we're thinking about it. Yeah, but I agree with you. There's some problems that are not worth having a specific solution for, and people
Yeah.
will go to the generic like ChatGPT version. So yeah, I agree. It's not for everything, but yeah.
That's the kind of thing I'm seeing now with vibe coding is a lot of people are because obviously, and don't get me wrong, I love it,
Mm.
but because it's so easy to build, people have that a bit of a, they think that they can build anything for any problem.
Yeah,
And again, the reality is, to be honest, very often more on the product side rather than on the tech side. So it's not really a tech issue. It's more of a product issue, which means understanding the market,
yeah.
understanding the problem, and so on, rather than just building the infrastructure for that. I've seen a lot of people vibe coding, and then I go, I'm just going to stick to ChatGPT. And this is why the question for me is, is the world going to be more like really fragmented where we
Mm.
use, AI apply, we use AI, I don't know, whatever it is, right? Like think of another 100
Mm.
words that could go together.
Yeah,
Or are we just going to consolidate most of the market under ChatGPT or whether it's Gemini or anything else. And then for 20% of the very unique
yeah.
needs, we're just going to stick to something like, AI apply or anything else. Because even ChatGPT rolling out the operator, I'm thinking actually a lot of the things can be done inside.
Mm.
So I don't have the right answer, just to be clear.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
don't know, but yeah.
That's gonna be super interesting. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Um, yeah, that's gonna be interesting. But I think we're definitely entering the phase of like the leaner startup, solopreneur, kind of smaller businesses, but that can sustain a life, a lifestyle. That doesn't necessarily mean raising a ton of money. Even though like what you're saying is true, I think it still opens up a ton of opportunity and a ton of niches for specific product that if I think if you've got the right distribution method, or if you build your audience, even personal branding, people will like to back someone they like more than the
Mm.
generic big tool. You know what I mean? So I think
So,
I think it will be a bit of that. I think it will extend the long tail, and there will be probably like at least for the the few years coming, a longer tail of like smaller product that does like one thing very very well.
mm. So to sum it up, basically what you're trying to say, it's always a let's call it multi-layer approach where,
Mm,
yeah, AI is important, but on top, there's another layer which could be personal brand. On top, there could be another layer which is, I don't know, network. And then there's more layers that
yeah,
could actually help you build and grow the product. Is that kind of the thinking here?
yeah.
No, you guys like definitely. I mean, that's why I reached out to you. You definitely guys crushing it. Let's do to finish this now. Um, give me like imagine literally someone is watching this video, for the first time, trying to build an AI startup, grow
Mm,
it, market it. Let's do like a 1 2 minute, final blueprint from Yoann. Just, literally from day one, build it, then you grow it. Like literally all the things we've discussed. I think that would be a good way to sum it up, and
mm.
that's it.
Where would I start? I think I'll just like repeat a bit of what we talked about today, but I think start from a difficult enough problem that is worth solving. That yes could use some element of AI to solve it. Design it using whatever you use to design it, or vibe code it to have like some MVP of it. You can even just use Figma to have like some of it, like some visuals of it. I think before you even put it out, start posting every day on TikTok 3 times a day until you find an angle where you get, instead of getting 100 views, you're getting 5,000. Even that's enough as a signal to see that there's like potential, and then continue doing that. Um, that being like becoming like a process for you, then you actually build it, put the things together, payment method, everything, and I think that's how you get to like your first 10K MR, in like 60 days. Like
And
that's
then you
all.
just keep hustling.
And then you can just keep doing that, and then you reinvest the profit that you make. You put it into hiring a couple creators to do the same thing, and then a couple more, and then a couple more. Um, and then 6 months down the line, then you can start thinking about, paid SEO, all that stuff, do
Yeah.
the website.
And then people just call you lucky.
Yeah. And then people are like, "Oh my God, see you started yesterday." It's like, no, I've been grinding for 6 months.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's I think that's how I would start it. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for sharing your wisdom because as I said at the beginning, I think it's really important to have more and more people who actually work in the AI space
Mm,
from and working on the marketing on the growth side because
yeah.
I'm seeing a future. I'm very optimistic about it, but I do think we're going to build a lot of garbage and not understand. Honestly, I'm just saying as it is. It's very blunt, I know, but not understanding how do we go about building a community, growing, because
Yeah.
I do think there's a bit of an illusion that just the fact that you built something means that you have a business.
Yeah.
Whereas, well, okay, to have a business, you actually need people to, who pay you. And obviously that means you need to have a community
Yeah.
and it's the usual business structure, and right now it's like, oh, you go to Lovable, you generate the code, dang, that's it, you got the business there.
Yeah.
It's a lot more complex than it is really. So I appreciate your wisdom once again. Thanks for sharing. I hope some of the audience will really enjoy it. I'll leave some of the links to AI Apply, because with AI eating all of the jobs, I'm pretty sure we'll all of us need a job at some point soon. So
Yeah.
that's when we go and pay you to find us. That's
Do you see
to
what I'm
find
doing
all of
here? You
us.
see what I'm doing here?
Exactly. It's really, really smart because I'm pretty sure a lot of people are watching these kind of YouTube videos when they don't have a job
Yeah.
or they're thinking about getting a new job.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll leave a link below. And,
Yeah.
most importantly, I do hope some of this content will be really valuable to the audience. So I think that's it for today. But once again, thanks for joining,
Amazing.
Joann. I hope we'll do another podcast at some point soon, whenever you have more tips and kind of like, I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe you become the most successful AI startup on TikTok, which I really hope you do. But it was
Thanks.
really, really good. Thanks a lot for joining, Johan.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Thank you.